Hey y'all, and welcome to How to Stay at Home Ec. So today I am coming to you from my kitchen, and we are doing a pretty something I've been meaning to do for quite some time. We'll just put it that way. And Jeremy's going to be super stoked about this as well. Something about staying at home has made it so that I am not paying attention as much when we get groceries delivered to us or when I come home. I'm not being as thoughtful about the ways that I put things in to our cabinets. And so our cabinets are actually kind of a hot mess right now. So I don't know if you guys are feeling on that, but honestly, some of the things I don't even know what I have. And so today, at the very least, what we're doing is organizing my spice cupboard. So you guys, brace yourselves. This is real. Are you ready? Okay. Okay. So this is crazy. This is my spice cupboard. I have got myself a comfy chair. And I'll give you a little bit of like an in-depth sort of look situation, but check that out, okay? So we're at the point now where I'm so nervous about like pulling out this drawer because it's so heavy. Like I'm worried it's gonna fall off of its hinges. I'm not sure if I have doubles. I don't even know what's going on in there. And so we're gonna get it done today. So if you have a cupboard that's going absolutely cray, I hope that this helps you. If you have a spice cupboard or a spice drawer, as mine is, I don't have the option in this sort of a situation to do like the risers. So what I did was I went to Home Goods on last Friday, I think. Dallas went into full face mask effect, and I am really, I feel fabulous about Dallas doing that, and I love that everyone is, for whatever reason, some people don't want to wear masks. If that's you, I love that cities are taking on the responsibility for helping people be responsible for other people's well-being. And I know that that's crazy, and I know that we're not talking politics, we're talking spice racks. But I went to Home Goods fully masked, everyone else was fully masked, and I got some shelves, some little containers for things. Because I don't have the ability to, oh gosh, it's so sticky. Because I don't have the ability to go on risers, one of the ways, at least at a time, that that my spice cupboard was organized was savory on the left, baking on the right. And that has been, pretty consistent, but also is a little bit, not really true anymore. So, between Jeremy and I cooking all of the time, we're using the spices in the spice cupboard all the time, and, I'm pretty good about figuring out when I run out of things, but sometimes, when things are this crazy looking, it's easy even to remember to write, oregano on the grocery list, and I use oregano quite often, dried oregano, and it's the craziest thing to, go into my spice cupboard and be like, I actually may not have oregano, So we're going to try to keep that from happening today. So what I'm trying to do here, this has every sticker imaginable. Oh, geez. So I'm trying to remove, if y'all are up to date on these videos, you know how strongly I feel about keeping price tags on things. I'm really not a big fan. I guess I should have bought some Goo Gone. Whoops. Because there's going to be a little bit of stuck on here, but that's okay. That's all right. We'll come back. We can fix that later. For right now, we're just going with it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take out all the spices. We're going to make sure that there's not anything that is outdated. We're going to make sure that there's not multiples. And if they are multiples and they're both not outdated, maybe we combine them. I know that that's like that might be kind of a no-no in your house. It's not really the best, but we definitely don't want to be wasteful. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, and hopefully these fit in my drawer. I feel like I have a pretty decent eye for this sort of thing. So here's to hoping. Another thing, oh no, I'm so far away. I have a piece of paper. Hold on, I gotta get it. Oh, jeez. So, one of the other projects that I'm doing is, and this is by Jeremy's request, but also I used to have it done to all my herbs and spices, but I use them so often that now it is no longer the case. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make labels, pen, sticky paper. I don't have a label maker. If you have one of those, it's very useful, especially if you have a drawer and when you open it up, all you see is tops. It's super useful to be able to see what you're looking for. So if you're looking for basil, the top says basil and you can just grab it out. So as we're going along, we're going to have savory list and baking list. I may even color code them, do like the savory in green and the baking in red, or, you know, one of them in black, one of them in blue, or I don't know. We'll see. So let's get to it, shall we? So we're going to do savory first, at least as much as possible. I'm going to put my paper, maybe put my paper right here. Okay, and we're going to get to it. We're going to dive right in. I'm just going to put some little tidbits off to the side. I have some really interesting savory spices. These are actually beautiful. They're from one of Jeremy's friends at work, and they're to make my favorite Bombay potatoes. And then I've also got some Malden sea salt from one of our meals that I've kept and we haven't used. So I'm just going to kind of put that off to the side because sometimes I just keep things and I'll decide what to do with those at the end. But we're mostly dealing in like tiny little bottles. So Creole seasoning. So I'm going to write Creole. Spices, check. Just going to set it right in here. Cumin. Ground cumin. I know a lot of people really like cumin seeds and then they grind them themselves. I would love to do that. I'm not quite there, but do it if you do it. Paprika. And this is also, guys, like I have a pretty, I would say, extensive spice cupboard, but, and so it's a good, you know, the ones that I'm reading off, maybe it's useful to you to know a couple of spices that would be useful in your kitchen. But a lot of times, honestly, what ends up happening is you're like, hey, I want to make this thing. Oh, I want to make like chili. Oh, well, you know, I don't have cumin or I don't have red pepper. And you want to be able to make your own chili seasoning, which I do. Then, you know, you just go out and you buy that thing. And if you do this sort of a situation where you label the tops, then you know that you already have cumin, which is great. Celery seed. Celery seed is good if you grind it up, if you're a big, well, yeah, let's go through these. Creole seasoning, just spicy seasoning. Got it from New Orleans, big times, delish. Cumin seed, highly known in Indian cooking for chilies, especially if you're a Midwesterner. Also tacos. The thing that makes tacos taste like tacos, basically cumin seeds, along with some red stuff, including paprika. This is sweet paprika. There's also smoked. I don't normally carry both, and I use them interchangeably, even though a lot of people would say not to do that. Celery seed, if you grind it up, super tasty on Bloody Marys. If that's your poison, I use it with dishes that are usually like pork based, hams. That's pretty much it. If I make split pea soup, delish. Black pepper. I don't use this black pepper a lot. I needed it for something, but let's see. We'll see black pepper. Normally I use fresh cracked pepper because it's my favorite, but sometimes if you're making soup and you want like a big old handful, this is great. It's actually pretty new. So, I got some seasonings that are delish, and I'm wiping these down because something got a little bit, and you know what? Oh no, I'm going to need like a better wipe situation. This is molasses. That's not good, guys. See, this is a mess. It's a mess in here. There's molasses on my seasonings. OMG. Serendipity seasoning. They are absolutely delicious. I don't think that I'm going to make labels for these just because they're tall. I can throw them in the back or something. I think there are 3 of them. If I remember correctly, it's based out of Texas. Maybe out of Austin, and they are delicious seasonings. It looks like the one that we've used the most of is this seasoned pepper. It doesn't have any salt in it, but it's just like super savory and delicious. So we'll just put those right in here. Okay, next, garlic powder. Good thing to have around. Used in really a lot of things. I think where I use it most is in soups. Chili. You can use it if you're making like tacos and stuff, but it's delicious in soups. It's great in dips if you need to make like almost like an onion soup sort of dip recipe, or some people actually use it in their tzatziki, so like sauces and things that they mix up together that you want a garlic flavor, but you don't want that fresh garlic tinge. You want kind of a little bit of a cooked flavor or like a dry flavor. Southwest Chipotle. So I do actually use this. It's pretty strong. Mrs. Dash, salt-free. Chipotle. Yeah. I'm just going to keep that. I think it's got a little bit of lime in it. It's delish. I don't normally buy seasoning, like, packets. Usually I buy just regular seasonings, like a plain seasoning. But, you know, sometimes you come across something and you're like, ooh, that looks tasty. And then you use it. Okay, cayenne. And I have a feeling, this is a thing, I have a feeling we're going to come across a lot of cayenne. Because I feel like I've bought it multiple times. And so I'm going to put that one down because I'm just unsure. Ground mustard. Ground mustard is good. Oh, let's see, where do I use this? I mean, you can use it in egg salad. You can actually use it in anything that you're making, like stew-wise, if you don't have mustard. Good in like braised meats and things, especially beef, along with like some Worcestershire or something like that. I have used quite a bit of it. Barbecue, if you're making barbecue sauce and you don't have like yellow mustard, yeah, it's pretty good. I think I'm actually going to need a little bit more of a wipe situation. Like I said, there's like molasses on my stuff. I told you guys. It's crazy. Look. That's not good. Molasses on your spices. Okay, we're back in. We're back in. Cayenne pepper can be used to add heat to most anything. Little bit goes a long way, so watch yourself if you get cayenne. And this one, technically, I don't even have to put a label on because it's already got a label. Love that. Fabulous. Okay, next, white pepper. So I bought this, probably my most recent spice, because there was someone who had said that made their favorite mashed potatoes because they didn't like the little black specks in their potatoes. So white pepper was like better. And I don't know if I believe that. But we tried it. It was okay. Basil leaves, used mostly in Italian cooking. I don't use it a lot, honestly. Like I said, I use a lot of oregano. Greek seasoning. Smells mostly like dill, salt. I know salt doesn't really smell, but It has like a savory, salty sort of a situation, almost like an MSG, like a bouillon. It smells kind of like that. So probably a little bit of pepper in there, maybe a little bit of fennel. So that smells like. I don't use it very often. Tastes good on chicken though. All right, parsley flakes. Since I've been doing my own herbs, I use parsley flakes very rarely because I have regular parsley flakes. So those are technically probably old, and I don't know if I would keep them, but I'm going to. Also, the same with this, organic rosemary. Why use dried rosemary when you have fresh rosemary? So same thing, but I'm going to keep it. There is an interesting, maybe, let's see if it still smells. Yeah, at first it kind of just smelled like soap, and then you got the rosemary, but sure. All right, turmeric. This was a recent addition because I was trying to figure out how to make my Bombay potatoes, and Indian food, turmeric, good stuff. Sage. Don't use a lot of this. In fact, I'm thinking I'm going to throw this away. It looks a little bit strange. This says best by December of 2020, so it's still good. You would use this in like pork dishes. You could use it with pastas and things. I guess it's still good. Maybe we'll keep it. I have fresh sage, and it's actually doing really well this year. Last year it did not do well. This year it's growing like the clappers, so I will probably just use fresh sage. Actually, yesterday we had an issue with, we were trying to make dinner, and we found out that our meat was bad. We put it in a pan, and it was like this terrible smell. And so I had Jeremy quick take it outside, and it was fresh meat, guys. Like I just bought it. And I needed something to like make our house smell good. So Jeremy went around and he actually like lit like some of my scented candles, which was great. But in the kitchen, we had the hood on. In the kitchen, I just took some sage from my herb garden, put some butter in a fry pan, and just fried the sage. And Jeremy was like, "Ooh, what smells like breakfast sausage?" I was like, "Fat and sage. That's what breakfast sausage smells like." But it smelled really, really good, and it made our house kind of smell a little bit more food-like. So anyway, oh gosh, we're getting into the. I don't know how my molasses got all over the place, guys, but we're getting into the molasses now. Okay, saffron. In my adventures with Indian foods, and I've got plenty of ways to go, but good in Indian foods. A little bit goes a long way. It's hard to see, but it has tiny little pods of stuff in it. Big fan of that. And yeah, adds a lot of color, unless you get it nice and fresh. And then it can add some good flavor as well. I think it's, put in like biryani and stuff. I didn't show you guys, but one of the things I put down here is in a tiny little container. It's dill weed. I don't know what I use dill weed for, but I'm going to keep it. I probably made like a dip with it. So, saffron. So good. Okay. Oh no. Okay. Oh, and I told you guys I didn't do this. So this is smoked paprika. I apparently have smoked and not smoked paprika. I lied. Looks like maybe like we went to Costco and got a ton of it. I don't know. Okay. These are ancho chilies and other dried chilies. I'm going to put these along with my weird little, my tiny little bits and pieces of spices for reasons. Ooh, chili powder, right? Stuff you make chili with. Not just this, because this doesn't have a lot of flavor, but it's chilies powder. So, chili powder, not spicy, very red. Okay. We're like kind of getting to the end of the room in this little bin that I have. That's crazy. Okay, organic sesame seeds. Sesame seeds. So good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start setting things off to the side because I just don't have enough room. This is ripped off. It kind of looks like fennel. I have no idea. If you have something like this in your spice cupboard and you know don't know what it is, and if you did know what it was, you wouldn't use it anyway, throw it away. So that's what I'm gonna do. So we've got a couple of weird like little soupy sorts of situations. I've got some bigger, better milk bags. Jeremy was actually, you use them for nut milk. Jeremy was making a beverage where he had to have a really thin strain, so we were using that. And I've got cooking twine, which I actually use pretty often, but I don't know if I want to put those in our spice cupboard or not. Worcestershire sauce. Not going to label that. It's pretty obvious. Big old thing of kosher salt. Not going to label that either. Coriander, part of my Indian food situation. Oh gosh. Okay. That wasn't as bad as I thought. It was just stuck to the bottom. This is bay leaves. Bay leaves are great to marry flavors. Delicious in soups and stews. Delicious with specifically pork dishes, but you can use it in chicken dishes and probably like lamb and definitely like ham and vegetables and things. Bay is a great way to create kind of like I don't know, it's just like a togetherness. It's like a glue, but it doesn't turn into a glue. Not really edible. I don't have very many left because I use them pretty often. You use one or two in a soup or stew, and then you have to take them out. I actually have a bay tree that I'm trying to grow right now. It's not going very well. We'll see how that goes. Cheesecloth, in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm going to put that with the nut milk bags and see if there's a special place where I can put those later. Crushed red pepper flakes. We're pulling this out. Great on pizza, right? If you keep them for a really long time, they don't taste like anything. Oh, I just got red pepper flakes all over the floor. That's not great for the dogs. Don't open it on the floor, guys. Oh, geez. I'm going to have to sweep the floor when I'm done. The dogs are like away or apart or like in the next room, so I'm not too worried about it, but I don't want them getting a hold of red pepper flakes. Great to sprinkle on foods. You don't have to cook them into things. You can use them as a later sort of addition or a condiment, like a sprinkled condiment, but also you can use them as heat in a lot of dishes, stir fries, and really soups and stews and things. It just depends on, they can be kind of spicy because it does include the seeds. So this is kind of like your cayenne sort of situation, only cayenne is all of this ground all up, and then this is like a bigger sort of situation. But if you're boiling it or stewing it or something, it doesn't really matter. You can use these and the flavor will still grow outward. Okay, dried thyme. I use thyme when I make quiche. You can use it in chicken. You can use it in all the things. Right now, I really only use fresh thyme. But, you know, you can see I actually don't have very much left in this tiny little bottle. Oh, geez, I haven't been writing down my things. Thyme and red pepper flakes. Red pepper. And those of you who are just tuning in, I am writing down a list so that I can make labels for the tops of these so that you can see what they are when we go to get something. Okay, garam masala. A little bit of a joke garam masala because came in a McCormick brand. Nothing against McCormick, but I'm well aware of the fact that that garam masala this might be sad garam masala, but it's the best I could find at Tom Thumb. It smells okay. It's not the most stimulating garam masala obs, but good stuff to have around. Part of my Indian cooking situation. Garam. I've run out of room. Masala. Okay. We are getting into baking spices now. So I'm going to get out my other little guy. I got one for baking and one for not baking. Oh gosh. This one had more, let's say less stickum, but also more stickum. Like, I'm not going to be able to get that off. It didn't have the little goobs, the little rounds of goob. It had like one really thin but intense adhesive strip that most of the paper is stuck to. But, you know, what can you do? Oh gosh. Awesome. There's that. There's this. These are a great size. I think the reason why I picked these out is because they're a great size. They've got a bit of weight to them. And yeah, they will keep everything together, which I'm a big fan of. I could just put some things on the left and some things on the right, but I like having a little bit more of a delineation between baking and non, knowing how many spices I have and how a lot of times I'm kind of moving a bit fast when I'm cooking, kind of going to the beat of a I wouldn't necessarily say fast, but I'm just kind of ambling along, you know, not too worried about where I'm putting things as long as I'm putting them kind of in the right vicinity. And I think that this will help a little bit as far as being like, okay, well, the right vicinity is like a size. So I only have a little bit of vicinity to work with, which is good. I do like having things where my hands go to them, be like, oh yeah, I need cinnamon. Let's put it right here. And then it's not there. And I don't like that. That drives me mad. So, okay. So I'm going to I've got some savory stuff that actually doesn't have a home right now. So I'm going to have to figure out if there's another way maybe that I can add an additional organizational tool to this to account for how many spices I have and the fact that everything, like that it's full. So, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. Okay, so here's another little bag of spices. I'm going to put that with the little bags. Things. Ah, my oregano. See, it was right in front, but it was also hiding. Okay. I'll write that down. Oregano. Organic fennel pollen. This apparently you can use with pork dishes, maybe chicken dishes. It looks like seafood, beef, something else. I got it on Amazon. I'm not going to make a label for it. Beef, chicken, pork, seafood, lamb, and vegetables. It says adds a herbaceous aromatic flavor and a taste of Tuscany. This is in my favorite goat cheese, and I was trying to make it, and this was the ingredient, so I bought it. I used it. I may have used too much of it. I actually liked it. It's got a very aniseedy flavor, but it can be a bit much for some people. So that's what that is. All right, we're moving on. Oh, onion powder. See? Another onion powder. Another seasoning. Onion powder, used in all the things that garlic powder is used for, but also anywhere you don't want to use raw onions. It's usually got pretty good flavor. Jeremy's mom actually can have onion seasoning, onion flavoring, even dried onions, but she can't have any sort of even cooked onion she can't have. So it's, that's a great thing definitely for us to have around. I don't use it a ton. I like using just onions or scallions or something, or shallots and things, but we do as we do. Nutmeg, essential. I may have ground nutmeg in here for recipes that call for like a quarter or more of a teaspoon, but generally regular nutmeg in these little baubles. Oh gosh, it just smells so good. I use it in meat dishes and things, but you can also use it at Christmas to decorate your eggnoggers and things like that. But it comes in a little bean like this, and it almost looks like a nutmeg. And then you grind it down. So that's what this is. This is ground down. I've got a grinder that I've had for forever ever that Jeremy makes fun of me about because we have other grinders, but this is my nutmeg grinder. It's broken, but it sits right next to the nutmeg. It's friends, and anytime I need nutmeg, especially if it's for seasoning for like barbecue or for pasta, freaking Alfredo with some nutmeg, man. Ooh. Anything that's got a cream additive or a bechamel, something that's got like a cheese additive, like macaroni cheese, anything that is, like I said, meaty that you want to kind of take the game out of. Cloves and nutmeg are great for that, but it's also a baking spice. So I always have it in my baking spices, but I go to it more for savory reasons than I do for baking reasons. Okay, so now I have 2 things of vanilla paste. I don't know that I will, make labels for these. I use vanilla paste. I do have, I think, vanilla extract, but I rarely, if ever, use it. This stuff is amazing. You could kind of see it had like that little bit right there. Inside of here is the most amazing goo. It has all of the tiny little, you can see, nope, you can't, it's too shiny. It has all of the tiny little, it's like they soaked all of the beans, the vanilla bean pods, and then they scooped out all of the goop with like bourbon and some bourbon and sugar water, and it's just dotted, delicious goo, and that's what I use. So it looks like I do have some vanilla extract. There's not a lot left in here. I think this might be Jeremy's from when we moved in, and I'm not hating on it. I just don't use vanilla extract. So, and I'm not going to label that. Cardamom. Cardamom is delish. It almost has like a spicy minty sort of a situation. Definitely like a hard to explain. I've also heard that the way that you should do cardamom is by buying the pods and dealing that way. But like I said, not quite there yet. I have a little bit of cardamom in case I need it. But if I were to make something that was cardamom based, I would definitely probably use the pods. But like I said, not quite there. Cloves. Great for your Christmas flavors, right? Delicious. Kind of spicy but cool. Clove has a lot of uses. It's actually really, dentists use it. When I had to have my tooth removed over here and I got dry socket, they make a pulp out of clove, and you push it up, and it covers the nerve cap, and then it like cools it and numbs it, and so it's actually it has a medicinal sort of effect, but it tastes great too. Great in, like, my mom makes molasses cookies, but also great to take the game out of bison, dark meats, venison, or I use it in my meatloaf. So good. Okay, so I technically have a million things of cinnamon, and there is a reason for that. My mom, when she comes into town, she requested that I get this cinnamon. I didn't know it was this cinnamon, and I had, when did I have? I think I had this cinnamon, and she was like, oh no, I need a different cinnamon. There's one that's like a different kind. And I was like, oh, okay. So I got this cinnamon, and it was not the right cinnamon. So then I ordered this cinnamon online, but it came in a pack of 3. So I have a 1 million cinnamons. And there is, I mean, she's got a bit of a point in that, like, this is a delicious cinnamon, and I use it, like, pretty much exclusively now. And I have all this other cinnamon, so I'm not, yeah, it's just a lot of cinnamon. And it takes up a ton of space. So I've got to think about the cinnamon. In fact, I'm only going to put 1 cinnamon there, and then I'll put, I've got a little place for backups over here, which is going to need its own clean out, let's be honest. But, yeah. This is an oregano, guys. Remember when I was like, I can't believe I don't have oregano? It's because I went in, couldn't find it. Here it is. So now I've got 2 oreganos. They are new, but neither of them will fit into the other. So now I've got 2 oreganos. What? Cream of tartar. People use cream of tartar in meringue, in custard, if you want to cheat a little bit. It creates kind of like a heft. Almost like whatever the stuff is that you make gravy with, cornstarch. Almost like cornstarch. Baking spice. Cinnamon stick. I might even have another one of those. Cinnamon sticks. Ground nutmeg. From back in the day, because it actually says ground nutmeg on the bottom, I had labeled it with a Sharpie because the top was black, so I just like stored it upside down. I think it's probably expired. Best by the 14th of June, 2014. Guys. Holy crap. We're going to throw that out. This is what happens when you do your spice cupboard. Crazy things happen. Almond extract. Not going to label it. Delicious stuff. Gives you an almond flavor. Love almond flavor. It's one of my favorite flavors. I have some tiny little apricot preserves. I'm going to take those out because I don't know what to do with them. I don't think I want them. At least not in there. It's from one of our meals. When we were doing like the little meals, they would always send us like tiny little things of, like, in this case, apricot preserves for, maybe it was like a glaze for chicken or something, and then we didn't end up using it. I don't know. Caraway seeds. Technically, the thing that makes the flavor of rye. Technically, maybe a savory thing. You can use it in pork dishes as well, but my use of caraway is actually in bread, Irish soda bread, and it's a little bit sweet, so I'm going to keep it in my baking spices. Allspice, whole allspices even. I may have like tried to make a perfumey sort of stovetop apple, orange peel, cinnamon stick, allspice, like a super scenty situation at a time. So that's probably what that was from. Ground ginger. Purchased this for molasses cookies to make with my mother. Oh no, I have 2 things of ground ginger. Guys. Okay, you know what? I am going to just have an area for like duplicates. Because I know that they're not old. In fact, I'm sure I just thought that I didn't have it. So, okay, so there's a cinnamon, there's a ground ginger, there's an oregano. Bleeding heck, I tell ya. Okay. Pumpkin spice. Yes, yep, I do. Mostly for pumpkin pie or pumpkin cookies or anything else that calls for pumpkin spice. Pumpkin beverages, like they're pumpkin for days. There's a time of the year when pumpkin spice is the thing, and I have pumpkin spice for when that's true. Okay. Ooh. So I have curious. Oh, I have 2 pumpkin pie spices. Oops. Let's see if any of these are have a date on them that is bad. Best by August 17, 2020. So this one is almost done. Guys, let's talk about expiration dates for a minute, okay? Okay, this smells delicious. Your spices are not really going to go bad in a way that they're going to hurt you. Your spices will lose their potency. They'll lose their flavor. And especially with something like pumpkin pie spice, which has other spices in it. It's actually a blend of spices. This is a blend of cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, allspice, mace, and cloves. When you have a blend like this, what ends up happening is that some of the spices will lose their flavor a little bit more quickly, and some of them will not. So when I smell this, it smells like mace. It smells like clove a little bit, maybe like an allspice situation, but the cinnamon is gone, the ginger is gone, the nutmeg is gone. So it's just, or is not as prominent. And as it gets older, the clove and like mace are going to keep a little bit of their hit, but they're not going to keep their depth of flavor. So this one, let's see if this is any newer. Best by September 2014. Okay. All right. Well, this one is older. So we're throwing this one away. If I can describe to you the difference in these two things, it is spectacular. Now, this is also a little bit more of an expensive brand. It definitely, the spices have a lot more body to them, but this almost smells like powder, like nothing. Like maybe vanilla powder is what it smells like, which is crazy. So I'm going to keep this pumpkin pie spice for another day. More allspice beads. I'm going to keep those in here, and I'm actually going to check and see, because I didn't. The allspice that I had before may be old. August 4. Nope, 2021. So I just have a bunch of allspice. It's probably because I love the smell of allspice. Also, I think it has a savory component. I'm pretty sure you can use it in, maybe it's Indian cooking, I think, or Chinese cooking. Cooking. You can use it for like in savory dishes. For sure. Okay. Imitation maple extract. I have that because at a time I was making banana cake. Not going to label it, but it was, you know. Oh, I'll keep it around. I haven't used it in forever, ever. Mulling spices. Let's see if this has, and this is that, so this is that smelly thing. So this is best by 8/2 of 20. So this is for mulled cider. I'm not going to have mulled cider before August. It does smell really good. So if I didn't want to make mulled cider, but I wanted to keep this, I could use it as like that stovetop potpourri I was talking about. I'm going to keep it because in the fall times, if you just throw in like a lemon peel or an orange peel or something and throw this in a pot, maybe even with like a little bit of cranberry juice or just water, or like apple cider or something like that, the smell that it will bring into your home is spectacular. So I'm going to keep these for reasons, but not going to label it. It's just like, okay. Things and things. Oh gosh. So this is called Grill Mates Montreal Chicken. Believe it or not, I actually use it a lot. Or, you know, whenever I make chicken. I don't know why. It's pretty tasty. I'm just going to call it chicken. Because I don't think I can write Montreal on this tiny lid. No room. Okay. Mediterranean coarse sea salt, sustainably harvested on the sunny coast of Spain. So we have recently switched to kosher salt. This is not old though. It's not old. I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna keep it, I guess. Maybe, you know what? No, I'm gonna put it maybe in the extras. We'll see what we're gonna do with the extras. Curry masala for chicken. I actually really like this stuff for making lentil soup. My own little lentil soup. Nothing else. It's like lentils and carrot. I throw in like a carrot and a piece of celery and a half of an onion and lentils and a little bit of that and maybe some salt and pepper and you got it. That's it. All right, capers. Didn't know I had capers. April 2021. Good for forever ever. We'll call that savory for sure. Oh, star anise. I only have one. We'll keep it. All right. Now, oh, there's another one of those apricot preserves. Tell me, you know, sometimes you just hope that something is expired so you can throw it away. This is expired. I can throw it away. Okay. That makes me so happy. I can't even tell you. Okay. I mean, I'm just not gonna apricot preserves. I'm just not gonna eat it. Okay. So this was my original organization situation. It used to have like it's a little trough for when I was in my apartment, I was trying to grow a tiny little pot garden in my windowsill. And this was the vessel. But I was like, oh no, I want to use that because it's actually like it's like, oh geez, sorry. It's like metal. So I was like, okay. Okay, so here's this little guy. And we might actually use this for the rest of the savory stuff. We'll figure that out in just a second. 3 things that are in my fridge or are in my possession are stock cubes, bouillon. Believe it or not, all of these are expired. I'm just seeing that right now. And the chicken is the newest. It's expired. So this was expired in 2016. This was expired in 2015. And this is expired in 2018. So here's what I'm going to do. And this was vegetable, this is beef, and this is chicken. I'm going to keep the chicken ones. I will need to buy some more bouillon at a time, but I'm unwilling to be without bouillon. So I'm going to throw away the other 2. And this guy's going to stay. He may not have as much flavor, but, you know, we'll do what we can. Tiny little thing of toothpicks for baking reasons inside of a shot glass. And, oh gosh, the perpetrator, guys. Oh. Molasses. For molasses cookies. Or molasses is actually a delicious additive to chili. To anything that you want, kind of like a caramel, dark sugar, almost like an edge. So definitely like barbecue. What else? What else do I put it in? Really, like it's good in like almost like tomato-based sauces or something. Things that have a little bit of heat and a little bit of acid, and you want to add like a little bit of sweet, but you don't necessarily want to add like straight sugar. Maybe you want a depth to it. And this molasses is just, and that's the thing about molasses. You can't get it open, but for some reason it's gotten molasses all over the darn place. Oh God. That smell is like heavenly. There's nothing, I love the smell of molasses. When I was a kid, I grew up on a farm, and there used to be this food meal that my dad purchased for like cows or something, like cows, or I think it had to have been cows. I'm not really sure. Maybe it was the sheep or the horses or something. But this food meal that they would make, and it had like oats and things like that, corn, like crushed up of dried corn. So it was all dried things, and then they would roll it around in molasses. And so whenever you would open up like a new bag, almost like dog food or something, but it's not dog food. You open it up and it just like hit you with molasses. Oh, I could have eaten it. Okay, so here's actually, before I do this, this is kind of gray. Oh, you know what I didn't do was write down chicken. Bouillon. Chicken. Bouillon. Okay. So this is my list of labels to make. So I will post a picture of these at a time when I get done making the labels, and then I go through and I put them all on. I'm not going to do it on today's video. This is my drawer. It's no longer worried about being falling down. It's got great movement because it's super light. But you notice it had all that weird stuff in it. So I'm definitely going to wipe it out. And another thing, so you could do this and not wipe it out, you know, but you've put in all of this work already. And we're down here and we've got everything out. And so just taking a cloth and just getting some of the bits out. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but there's a price tag. It came off of one of the bottles. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just trying to get out all the little bits maybe, or, you know, at least the bigger pieces. And especially in the case of something that you have inside that's got molasses sitting in the bottom of it, ants are going to find that at a time. So to keep your house clean and bug-free, and I'm just using a little bit of wood stuff. Need a little liquid to get this molasses off. Oh gosh. The molasses is taking time. It's almost there. A little bit of elbow grease. If I had known it was going to take this much time, I would have paused the video. Sorry. But now it'd be like, pause, hello! Okay. Just wiping down, wiping out. And then I'm just going to take these. Trying to get out some of the dry stuff with these wet cloths. A wet cloth works wonders for getting up like little dusts. And by that, I mean like kind of picking it up like this. If you put it on top, like if you break a glass or something, and you pick up all the glass and maybe even you vacuumed, but you're like, I think there's still glass there. Taking a wet cloth and maybe like wearing like a thicker glove or something and kind of going over the floor and then picking it up like this. My mom taught me that. That actually happened at Christmas this year, and that's what she did. All right. So I've got, full disclosure, I actually have a couple more of these. I have another, like a little tiny one of these. My thoughts are, so here's what we're working with now. Check that out. Clean. It smells good. I mean, it smelled good before, but. So the other thing that I think I'm going to do, just because, like I said, we're here already, and you don't have to do all of these things. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be picturesque, but I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go through all of these at a time, and I'm going to give them a little bit of love, so why not give them a little bit of, a little bit of pretty too? And wouldn't it be something if it was like the right size so that I don't have to cut it? That would be nice. It's not, but it would be nice. All right. So it'll just have this little thing in the bottom. So the next time that, what's it called? The molasses gets in there. Okay, so when it was in there, I put my thumb in there and made a little indent. So I'm just going to cut a piece of this. No, I can't find my little cut. This is not the good scientific way to do this, guys. Definitely the best way is to put it on a flat surface and, get yourself like a straight something and but it's the inside of a drawer and it's going to look nice. Not worried about it. And I'm actually going to fold it to take some of the edge off. I have about 1/2 inch on each side, so I'm going to fold it like this. Make sure that it's kind of up, and then I'm just going to cut it straight across. And like I said, the edges won't be perfect, but it'll be good. Okay. I'm going to take about 1 inch off. Nice. All right. It's almost there. All right, y'all. Thank you for your patience on that. Even though the video just blipped and it suddenly fits. So this is what we've got going on. Not perfect, but it fits. And now we're just going to put our spices back in. So here's our baking spices. I'm going to put those on the right-hand side. I'm going to give a little bit of room for the handle. Not necessarily because I'm going to move it, but just that I kind of like the idea of that being there. And then we're going to go with, this guy. And probably what I'll end up doing with this is putting the things that I use the most in the front. But for right now, we're just going in. Mostly the things that I use are in the front. So we're going to put this on the left-hand side. So I've still really got like the same sort of situation that I had before, just a little bit more, organized. So I've got this nice little strip in the back, and I bought this tiny guy. Shoot. We've got like options. Maybe I'll move this over just a little bit. Back in there. I'm not sure where I'm going to put that. I'm going to put my Worcestershire in here. I'm going to put my kosher salt in here. Put my big thing of paprika in here. I'm going to put my chicken bouillon in here. And kind of slide that towards the back. That back there. Got a few little guys, a few little doodads to add in. But it's just looking really nice. Wow, that one doesn't want to come off. So we're leaving that. All right. Does it? Nope. That one stays for life. Okay. Put these little tiny guys in here. I think we're looking pretty good. I've got this little guy and this little guy. I'm not really sure what to do with this, but I also think that there might be like a spice that I don't want in there. So I think I'm going to take that out. But because I don't have it labeled, it's not ready. It's not ready yet. So I'm just going to show you the almost finished product. And even if I left it like this, guys, even if I left this just like this, it will be okay. But I'm going to label it spice covered, phantasmicness, and I actually love the way that like the bottom, the little bit that we put on the bottom, I actually love that actually kind of shines through instead of it being so dark, and it makes it kind of feel brighter in there. So I'm really excited that I got this. I honestly got this on my way out. I was like, oh yeah, that would be a good idea. I'm really excited to put this in all of these shelves. So that's really great. Super, super, super exciting. Okay, guys. I know that this was a long video, but thank you so much for joining me today on my spice cupboard revolution. If you have a spice cupboard and it just needs a little bit of help, maybe it's a good time to do that. It makes you so much more ready and willing to cook when all of the things that you love and all the things that you need to cook are at your fingertips, when it's easy to open up a cupboard. Your mind knows, okay? This is real times. Your mind knows whether or not an area gives you stress. Like, you might not know. Like, let's say you open up the cupboard and I don't want to cook. Or you think about cooking and you're like, oh, I don't want to cook. Your mind knows the places in your home that cause you stress. Maybe your kitchen doesn't cause you stress, but maybe the way that you have everything laid out in your kitchen causes you stress, especially if you go to your spice cupboard and your spice cupboard is unmanageable. If you can't find anything in your spice cupboard, it's really, really difficult to want to cook and to use the spices in your spice cupboard. So mentally speaking, when you think, oh, maybe I'll cook something tonight, I'm not really sure, or what do you think, what do I think I should cook, or like when you start to think about that, your brain then will not have that mental block that's like, oh no, that sounds too stressful. Now, you might just be too tired and you don't want to cook. So this is not a foolproof plan, but I can tell you that it makes it feel so much more rewarding, and it makes it seem that much more reachable and touchable to cook your own foods in your own home when your spaces are organized. So that's what we did today. Thanks for, if you're still here, you stuck it out. That was something else. I hope you learned something, or that you had fun along with me, and that this inspires you to find organization in a place that is unorganized, and have fun while you're doing it. Thank you for joining me today on How to Stay at Home Ec, and I will see you on the next episode.